And
TikTok. Hi, TikTokers.
hello, TikTokers.
It's
Hello,
cold out here.
Facebook. Hello, YouTube.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Kat.
How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going great, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm good. Oh, you can see my ladder in the background. I had my painters putting on my window boxes today, and they forgot to put my ladder away. Oh well.
How's the porch coming along?
The porch, that's next year or the year after thing, right? But the house
Oh,
is
yeah.
painted. The house is painted.
Oh, good.
So yes,
Good.
very, very, very happy about that. So Kat's a happy girl.
Well, we're all set for the winter then.
Yes, we're buttoned up. We're buttoned up for the winter. Yes, buttoned up for the winter. But it went from summer to now we're in winter. You see these sleeves? That's right. And I got my Uggs on. And I'm out on the porch, but I'm freezing my you-know-what's off. Freezing. I have scarves out here. See, I got scarves.
Yeah.
My quick changes are going to involve putting additional clothing on. So I can warm up. We're going to start cold. Oops, I meant to. Let's see, I got to get my focus off here. Okay, do not disturb is on my phone now. Okay, here we go. Now, let's get that off. Jeez, come on. Okay. Whoops, I had to turn my focus off, you guys. All right. I don't know. Hopefully you guys can see me. Okay. All right, so. Okay, now, okay, I think I'm focusing now.
Oh, hang on.
Is that your phone?
Yes.
That'd be $5, Dan.
That would be a phone violation. Yes.
It's a phone violation. Just saying.
Oh gosh.
Anyway,
Right.
keep in mind.
Well, I've been looking forward to this week.
Oh yeah?
Very much so. Because it's really interesting to see how the changes of the stats are coming in. And
yeah, there's not as much changing as you would think.
Well, that was the thing. When I got the stats from you, I was
not much changed.
Not much change, really.
It looked an awful lot like last week.
It did. Not all of it.
And right down to month supply of inventory.
But it was remarkably similar.
It was remarkably similar. Yes. As a matter of fact, you want to hit it? Should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Okay. I'm trying to keep my papers from falling here. So King County month supply of inventory.
Yes.
1.5 months, same as last time.
No change.
Percent of sellers that set offer review dates, 43%. Yes. The number of homes that went pending within the first 7 days on the market, 41%. 49% of sellers got under contract in King County within the first 14 days on the market. So all strong numbers.
Yeah.
So sellers did well. Sellers did well this past couple of weeks. And now I understand interest rates are creeping over 8% for the average consumer. Is that right, Dan?
Something like that.
It's uncomfortable. I gotta get another clamp for my papers. All right, just gotta hold my papers down, Dan.
Cool.
Hope my computer doesn't mind having things clamped to it. All right, here we go. This will work. Well, man, that wind is cold. I tell you what. Whew. Yeah, baby.
I'll tell you what. We had some thunder and lightning down here in Renton earlier today.
Oh yeah, we did here too. Yeah. And yesterday, plenty of thunder and lightning. There's a lot of thunder.
Fall is coming in with the bang.
It sure is. Yeah, it is. Okay.
So let's want to go to Snohomish.
Snohomish County, 1.2 months supply of inventory. 31% of sellers set offer review dates. 37% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market. And 49% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market in Snohomish County. Again, more strong numbers.
That's pretty remarkable.
It is for this time of year. Yeah, hanging on pretty strong. Sellers are still doing very, very well, with half of them getting out of contract within the first 2 weeks. That's a really strong seller's market.
Yeah.
So everybody that's really well prepared and priced well is going to get under contract for sure.
That's important.
It's yeah, it is. I mean, it gives you an almost guarantee that you're going to get sold within that 2 weeks. You know, unless you've really missed the mark. You know, and that's whoops. My paper doesn't want to come out from under that one clamp. Oh, I'm gonna have to tear it here. It's a good thing I print these out every week. I'm destroying the evidence. Okay. Okay, so Pierce County.
Pierce County.
Yeah, Pierce County 1.3 months supply of inventory.
No change.
No change. 21% of sellers set offer review dates. 38% of sellers in Pierce County got under contract within the first 7 days on the market. And 38% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market. So, ruh-roh. So the 2-week data goes back 2 to 4 weeks. So that's reflecting on that little bit slower market that we witnessed a couple of weeks ago. So, Pierce County, probably in reality, over these last 2 weeks, those numbers will probably be a lot stronger. So I'm not worried about Pierce County. They're doing just fine. 38% got under contract within the first 7 days. That's a good number.
Yeah, that is.
I'll take that any day of the week. That's a great number.
Well, that is kind of interesting, though, that they're going 38% in the first 7 days. And I'm just looking this up here.
Yeah.
And it's also 38% in the first 14 days. Right?
Well, yes, and like I said, so the 7-day data goes back 1 week to 2 weeks. So that is from a different time frame, right?
Oh,
so that's
okay,
only
gotcha.
one week ago, and then the week prior to that, right? And then the 2-week data goes back 14 days. So 15 to 28 days ago is what. So that's 2 weeks ago. So that's actually, further back than where the 7-day data ends. So, begins. So where the 7-day data begins is where the 2-week data ends. So, because you have to go back the full 7 days to capture the previous 7 days, the full 7 days time frame, right? Because you could have a house go under contract on the last day of that week, and then you need another week to go by to make sure that you capture that data. So
basically,
one that was listed on the day 7, then it goes under contract within the next 7 days. You want to capture that data in case it goes under contract on day 7, right? So that would be 14 days. The 7th day to list it, and then 7 more days to get under contract. So we want to make sure we catch all the data. Is what's going on there.
So in a way, the 7 days under contract is sort of leading the 14 day, or the 14 day is lagging, is probably a better way to put it.
The 14 day is lagging. Yes. The 14 day is lagging, and so we're not covering exactly the same time frame. But I do remember a couple of weeks ago, if we look at our data, like let's look at Pierce County 2 weeks ago. So at the the 7-day data, look at how weak it is. It's 26%. That's 2 weeks ago. Versus versus now, which is 38%. So I think we'll see that 2-week data look a little bit better going forward.
Right.
Yeah. Because essentially the first 7 days on the market for the weeks of the weeks that I tested for this week, so where we got 38% of sellers went on a contract within 14 days. So those correlating weeks would be within those, with sellers getting on a contract within 0 to 7 days. Those correlating weeks would be 34% in 0 to 7 days and 26%. Right. And that makes a lot more sense when you're correlating that with the 14 data, which says 38% got under contract within the first 14 days. It is confusing, but I want to use the most current data I have. And so I can't Otherwise, my data is always going to be 2 or 4 weeks old, right? So I don't want
Right.
that. So I try to keep it as current as possible. So the 0 to 7 is just a more current pulse on the market. One of the other things, so let me grab my book. Let me,
Sure.
because I have another thought. So I thought this was interesting. So King County, I pulled the most recent data, actually the last 7 days. So in King County, we had 327 homes listed the last 7 days, and we had 301 go pending. That's almost it's almost the same number as that was listed.
That's pretty remarkable.
It really is a strong market. Even though we've got 1.5 months supply of inventory in King County, the new listings are getting snapped up at a good pace, and the amount of activity out there is almost as much as there are the number of sellers. Now listen to Snohomish County. Snohomish County, 113 homes listed. Well, shoot, 122 went pending this last week. Right?
Wow.
That shows to me that actually if that continued, we'd have MSI go down this fall. So
Right.
I don't know, what's happening here, but right now we got a strong fall going. So Pierce County, we had 140 homes were listed. Get this. Pierce County is pretty much, they're banging, man. 172. That's 32 homes more went pending this past week than actually came on the market. Again, with month supply of inventory could start to go down if those trends continue. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. It's pretty.
That's a big number.
I mean, it's been a strong week. I was talking to some other agents and they were like, "Oh, my listing's sitting there, I don't get any activity." And I'm thinking, "Oh, well, the market's clearly, slowed down a little bit, and according to the data, doesn't really look like it. Sure, less homes are being sold every week, but less homes are coming on the market as well. But there still is a fair amount of activity both directions for sellers and buyers. So definitely not a balanced market. Definitely still skewed very strongly towards the seller's market. So we're still going to see quite a few multiple offers out there. Trying to figure out my head looks tipped. I think my head looks tipped on your screen because I think my computer's crooked.
No, I think it's straight.
Can't figure out it's this way. I could put it that way a little bit. Then I'm tipped on TikTok. Where are you? Are you over here? No, you're over here. I can poke you.
Well, I will say this. The name of the agents, this is the old Dragnet, what they used to say on Dragnet. The name of the agents shall remain nameless to protect the innocent.
Okay, I'm gonna put this big scarf on here, and this is gonna be my quick change so that all the county data doesn't look like I'm reporting all of it. So it looks like I made different videos. That's what I'm trying to do here, guys. So you see look at these microphones. These little guys get all buried under my hair and everything. Anyway, so I don't know. This is probably
What? The microphones still sound good over with the scarf over it. Yeah.
Good. Well, I don't know how ridiculous I look, but anyway, it's a scarf I've got that's got brown in it. So hang in there, guys. All right. So okay. So let's should we talk about Mason County?
I would love to talk about Mason County.
Okay. Mason County, 1.9 months supply of inventory. Same as last week.
Flat as a pancake.
21% of sellers set offer review dates. 33% of sellers in Mason County got under contract within the first 7 days on the market. And 30%, okay, so this is another one of those numbers. 30% of sellers got under contract within the first blah, blah. 30% of sellers in Mason County got under contract within the first 14 days on the market. And so again, with that data lagging behind the 0 to 7 day data, or the getting under contract within the first 7 days, That data is 7 to 14 days old. And the data for the 2 weeks, getting under contract within the first 14 days, that data is 2 to 4 weeks old, right? So it was that time frame started 4 weeks ago and ended 2 weeks ago, so that we could pick up all the homes that got under contract within 14 days, in case somebody was listed on day 14. So that takes you 28 days back. So anyway, so that's how that works. So that's why that data looks a little weaker. Again, I think in Mason County, what we're going to see is that number come up over the next couple weeks. Yeah.
Right.
To match the getting under contract within the first 7 days. Data.
Right.
It'll get a little bit stronger than those numbers. I would.
It's basically baked in the cake, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. Okay, again with tearing off my sheets here. But that little clamp is a little tight on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've been waiting.
What do you got, Dan?
Skagit County. Let's do Skagit.
You are on point. You are on point. Skagit County, 2.1 month supply of inventory. Unchanged. 13% of sellers set offer review dates. 32% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market. And 36% of sellers in Skagit County got under contract within the first 14 days on the market. So they're still hanging in there.
Yeah.
You know, a third of the sellers getting under contract within the first 2 weeks. Can't argue with that. That's
Right.
still a pretty good seller's market.
Right.
Kitsap County. We have another county. We're reporting on Kitsap now. Kitsap
Oh,
County
yeah.
has 1.4 months supply of inventory. I know you like Kitsap County, Dave.
I do like Kitsap County.
I called you Dave. You're not Dave. You're Dan. Jeez.
Dave, Dan.
Dan.
I've been called worse.
Okay, 24% of sellers in Kitsap County set offer review dates. 32% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market. And 45% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market. Kitsap County rolling along quite strong. Good, strong sellers market in Kitsap County. But I know showings are slowing down a little bit over there. My daughter has a brand new manufactured home on the market. I believe she's got it listed at 4.25, and she's had scant showings for like 10 days. So, and that's obviously lower end, right, of the price
Right.
over there. So yeah. Anyway, all right, I gotta loosen this clamp. I can't be torturing the next. I gotta make sure I can see the next page here.
Well, I've got to say, I was watching one of your daughter's TikTok videos, and she was looking at her new investment property,
Oh yeah, her triplex.
her triplex, and I got to tell you, I like the color. It's quite a color.
Green.
You
Lot
can
of green.
see it from down the
Lot of
block.
green. It's just a lot of green. Dan, I forgot to do the calculations on the fourplex again. Dan.
Oh, that's okay.
I wanted to go over that, but I guess I can't really, because I didn't calculate the data, the increase again, percent increase. I'm gonna throw this little black jacket on.
Oh, in the fourplexes you're talking?
Fourplexes, yeah. I wanted to touch on that again this week because I wanted to throw in there the
Oh, wait a minute.
increases. Do you still have those calculations?
I don't.
Yeah.
However,
My phone is my calculator. I don't have a
Yes.
calculator besides my phone, so
give,
I can't.
give me just a minute. I'll be right back.
Oh, can you calculate those for me? Do you have the graph?
No, I wasn't planning on that.
Oh.
I was going to do a wardrobe change.
Oh, well,
Hang on.
By all means.
Hang on.
Okay, Dan's gonna do a wardrobe change. I know you can't see him, TikTokers. That's because we're streaming live on, I don't know, is it Yard Stream or StreamYard? I can never remember. Anyway, who's out there, guys? Hi. Anybody out there? Let me see if I can see my comments down there. Oh, can't really hear. Maybe if I twizzle you up a little bit. Oh, we got a couple people on here, I guess. Hi, guys. Anyway, talking with a lender. I'm Kat Howard with Windermere Real Estate in Woodinville, Washington. And we sit here every Tuesday afternoon, and Dan Mellis with Nixon Mortgage and I Oh my goodness. Dan Mellis with Next Mortgage and I just
We have
kinda
matching jackets.
real estate stories. And so that's kind of what we're doing. And now Dan has put on a black leather jacket.
Yes.
So we're sporting the black leather jackets today. He's down in Renton. I'm up here in Snohomish, South Snohomish County, Snohomish, Washington, just about 10 miles from Woodinville, where my office is. And we're sporting black leather jackets.
Black leather jacket.
And
You
it's
know what I was
cold.
thinking?
My hands are so cold. It went from summer to winter in the last couple days.
In like a week.
It's like 50 something out here.
Yes.
It was like 80 10 days ago. I don't know.
I will tell you, 2 episodes ago, I remember we were hitting about 70,
Yeah.
and it was just uncomfortably hot.
I probably was uncomfortably hot.
And now we're at 52, and it's freezing.
It's really cold. It's really cold. I got my Uggs on.
Yeah,
But I got this dress
chilly.
on. You know, I don't know. You guys probably can't see the bottom of my dress here, but it's above my knees, right? And so my legs are really freezing. But I thought, well, I've got this nice brown dress I just bought. I thought I'd film in it today.
Well, it's worth the sacrifice.
What girls do?
Yes.
Well, tomorrow, you know what I got going on tomorrow, Dan?
No, what's that?
He's laughing at me, guys. I have a branding photo shoot tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I've been getting ready for the last few days. So I've been trying to write down like all the shots I want. You know, like, I'm talking to a buyer about a contract. So I have a girlfriend of mine at the office is going to play my buyer, and I'm going to get shots of her and I, toasting champagne as if she just bought a house. All these representative photos that I'm going to be able to use in social media, but also in buyer book, seller book, just different types of promotional materials. So I'm going to, have myself with a photo of me unlocking the door, getting the key out of the key box, just all the little steps in a real estate transaction as much as I can try to work into a 3-hour photo shoot. So a little bit expensive, but I get to change. I think I get like 4 or 5 changes and 2 locations. So we're going to be doing, starting in the new construction. So Country Woods, I think it's Country Woods in Woodinville, Washington. The listing agent and seller have graciously agreed to allow me to shoot my branding shoot there at 3 tomorrow. So hopefully they haven't forgot. I'm going to shoot the agent another text after we get done with this live, just to make sure he remembers. So,
well,
anyway,
if I were doing,
by the way, you guys, this property it's unbelievable. The house that I'm going to be doing the branding shoot in actually is pending. They've allowed the seller to use it as their model home for the next 6 months, and so, but they're about $3.5 million is what the homes are running. 4,500 square feet roughly on an acre. Facing the back of the house, facing west in Woodinville, like not a mile, probably a mile from Woodinville, 1.2 miles, 1.5 miles. So it's like really close to Woodinville. Oh my gosh. And wine country and all that stuff. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it's a great location. Completely cleared backyards, but there's a row of beautiful evergreens at that west boundary line, but it's so far back that that whole backyard all winter is going to be flooded with sunshine. So it's neat. There's lots of privacy, at least out the back. And these homes are enormous. They've got upstairs, downstairs laundry rooms. They're decked out. 3-car garages. It's relatively flat. The lots are relatively flat. They slope down towards the west a little bit, towards that back row of trees, but totally usable. Not difficult to mow or anything like that, but really beautiful to look at. So yeah, high ceilings. It's got all the modern flooring. You know how much I love the modern flooring, and buyers love the modern flooring.
Yes, I do know how much you love the modern flooring.
It's staged beautifully, and so kudos. Thank you so much, Country Woods, for letting us do my photo shoot, my branding shoot out there tomorrow. So looking forward to having some fun out there. So it should be fun.
Oh, that should be great.
Yeah. So anyway, got that going on, and then I guess what are we going to talk about next, Dan? Looks like
The joys of 8% interest rate?
oh, are we going to talk interest rates today, Dan? Oh, that's going to be
No.
fun. You know how much when interest rates hit another major price point, I just get so excited. I mean, I really we're up to 8%. Woo! This is going to be fun. Oh my! Oh, Dan, I don't know. I'm over here fussing with my computer because I got my papers clamped to my computer, which is vertical, so that we can stream on the computer as well as the cell phone. So I've got I've got 3 tripods set up in front of me, if you must know.
Wow.
I do, really. One of them has got my light. I don't know what my light's like on my face, but I don't know if it's doing a very good job. My reflector. It
looks pretty good.
Yeah, I can't tell. I can't tell. I got everything set up and I just kind of guessed. Just kind of winging a prayer here. Anyway, okay. So enough about me and my my hokey setup here that I have for streaming. So I wanted to go over today home buying steps. So steps to purchasing a home. So steps to purchasing a home in Western Washington. Step 1, get your finances in order. First thing you should do, talk to a lender. Really, talk to a lender and have them pull credit. Have them pull credit. Find out, make sure that nobody else is on your credit, right? You don't have somebody else's, loan that they went delinquent on somehow misplaced on your credit report because they share the same name or something like that. That happens. That happened to me. I had some other Catherine Howard's medical bills on mine before I went to go buy a house. I had my credit pulled and I had to have some stuff taken off. That was somebody else. You just have to prove who you are.
On that note, if I could add something to that.
Yeah.
There's a new program from our biggest lender. It's called Safe Check. Okay. So they kind of rolled this out here a few weeks ago. And basically what it is they do a soft pull and they can underwrite to it. And then at the very end, they will do a hard pull. So what that does is it avoids all the pesky calls that you're going to get right up front. So like what they call are trigger leads. And so these they come from the credit bureaus themselves. They sell the credit, the leads, right? It's terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. So what the Safe Check does is allows you to underwrite the loan, pull the credit. It's not final until they do a hard pull, but by then all the damage has been done. All the underwriting's been done and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And the nice thing is the tweak that they did to this is initially they had Safe Check, but then things could change. Let's say you had, I don't know, 30 days or 40, whatever, however long it takes to get from the beginning to the end, right? Now, what they'll do is they're going to go with the credit report that they pull is going to be the same credit report that you get at the end of the underwriting process.
Good.
So it's really nice.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So, but I interrupt. So go ahead.
Oh no, you are the lender in this team.
Well,
It's
in
called
name
the Cat
only.
and Dan Show for a reason. Because you're the Dan part.
That's
I
right.
can't be Dan. I'm not Dan. I'm not even gonna try and pull that off. You're the number guy. You can have it. By the way, you're the guy with 8% interest rates. Me, not me. Oh, no. I'm just the girl that's got the rising home prices.
That's right.
That's how that shit works. So anyway, okay. Under getting your finances in order, we've got a couple things. We've got to check your credit. So get that done. You want to get started on a pre-approval process once your credit's been repaired if it needs anything done to it. So you want to get pre-approved for a mortgage and find out what payment you're comfortable with, right? Not how much home you can buy, what payment you're comfortable with. And then figure out from there how much home you can buy for that payment amount. And then if it's appropriate, so there's going to be certain instances where it's appropriate for a buyer to get fully underwritten. So that would be the time you would want to go ahead and get through that that underwriting process. If for some reason your agent says, listen, this is going to be advantageous in this market, this could win us the house, is being fully underwritten. So in that case, you might want to go ahead and just get fully underwritten. It does tie you to a loan product. So you do want to make sure that that's a loan that you're going to be comfortable with in the long term. But it has helped me get my clients under contract. Having my clients fully underwritten has helped negotiate. So
makes it a lot easier to close in a hurry.
It carries a lot of weight because it looks almost the same as cash to a seller.
Yeah. It's a great feature.
It is. It's a great tool. It's a great tool for your agent to use when negotiating on your behalf to purchase a home. It can have a lot of value because even if you're not competing, you might be able to get money off the price. You might be able to negotiate other things because you do look almost as strong as cash. So it does matter. It really does matter. I'm going to grab a different jacket just because I have a really cool blanket coat. And you know what? It goes down over my knees. Can I do that right now, Dan? All right. Here we go. Got the quick change happening here. I got to tell you, this is going to be amazing. This blanket coat is so cool.
Okay.
All nice.
Hang on.
Here. Oh, see, look at my hair blowing all around.
Well, now that you're going to another wardrobe change,
I am.
I'm going to a wardrobe change too.
Okay. Well, I know you want to feel just, and we want this to be an equal opportunity, broadcast.
Wardrobe. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
So I'm back to the yellow shirt.
Okay. Well, I can't miss you. I mean, even in the construction zone, right? At night.
Well, I could put on my orange shirt.
You don't have to do that, Dan.
Just for you, Kat.
It looks orange. You know why? Because your background's blue.
Well, that's true. Yes, that's right. I should probably put on my blue shirts.
Well,
anyway, go ahead.
All right. So we're moving on.
Moving on.
So I got my look at these sleeves, man. It's warm. So nice. Anyway, okay. So step two in home buying steps. Step 2 is determine your budget and your priorities. So you want to make sure we were just talking about this in the financing portion, but set your budget. Figure out how much of your monthly income that you feel comfortable with setting aside for a mortgage, insurance, and property taxes, right? And always know that the property taxes and insurance are going to go up nearly annually. So you have to just know up front, you're signing up for this $3,500, $4,500, $5,500 a month payment, but that's not going to stay $5,500 in 2 years. That's going to be probably more like $5,800. So anyway, so just things to keep in mind. Property taxes and insurance just inevitably go up. So make a wish list. So
So I'm putting on my list here. 8% interest rates and taxes
and I could make
going
you
up.
happy. If you want 8% interest rates, Dan, we got you covered now.
To tell you the truth, I did price out a loan late in the day, and we're below 8%. So there you go.
So if someone has perfect credit, I understand that's the case.
One of these, maybe next show, maybe the show after that, we got to take a look at maybe FHA versus conventional. Because I got to tell you, FHA is a better deal right now. It really is.
Right.
So that's a topic for either next week or the week after. Anyways.
So yeah, what you want to do when you're getting ready to start looking at homes, you want to figure out what your priorities are. For me, for instance, I wanted to be near a walking trail.
Yes.
I wanted to be fairly close to Woodinville. I had a girlfriend from college that lived there. So I wanted to keep it fairly close in. And, and I really wanted 2 bathrooms. I got 1.5. That was kind of a mistake, but it's less bathrooms for me to clean. So it actually in the end worked out. But, but if you ever want a roommate or something, it's nice if you live alone. If you ever want a roommate, it's nice to have that second 3/4 bath. If you can, get a house. It's nice to have that 1.75 bath or more when you're looking for a house. But think about things like that. How many bathrooms do we need? How many do we want? How big a garage do you need? Do you want it attached? There's a lot of homes in Western Washington that do not have attached garages. Sometimes they'll go for a tad bit of a discount because most of Western Washington has attached garages. But, figure out if that's a priority. And whether you need 1 or 2 car garage or you need something like a shop, So,
Right.
But you have to figure out, or is it school district, or is it commute distance to work, or time on the road? And there's a cool app called Waze, WAZE, where you can plug in your work address and the potential home address and calculate when you're leaving for work and when you're coming home from work, what that commute time will be. So that's a very nice way to be able to do that. So the next thing you want to do is you want to find a knowledgeable realtor. You're looking at one. Pick me. Oh,
I'm over here.
Pick me. I'm right here. Anyway, Cat Howard, Woodinville, Washington. Happy to serve. I love helping buyers get into homes, but regardless of what market you're in, because obviously I'm not working in South Dakota, so you take South Dakota out of my areas that I serve. I love you, South Dakota, but I'm not there. It's really hard to sell a house when you're not there. So anyway, so pick a knowledgeable real estate broker. And if they're new, make sure they're being mentored. So every realtor, is going to want to drum up business, and there's going to be some new realtors that you might run into out there. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You just want to make sure that they're being mentored by somebody who's been in the business a long time. And so that's how I got started in real estate, was going through a mentorship with Windermere, and it was great. It was just great. JJ was amazing and taught me a lot of what I know now. Obviously, you continue to learn every single year. As a matter of fact, I'm on such a steep learning curve right now with all this social media and et cetera, and all this AI stuff that I'm absolutely overwhelmed with all the stuff I've had to learn recently, and the things I want to know that I still want to wrap my brain around. So there's a lot of learning that goes on in becoming a realtor. But pick a realtor. And you can interview several, and that's okay. And find somebody that you trust, because they're going to be negotiating on your behalf. You need to trust them.
Yep.
There's good ones out there, and then that's all I'm going to say. Finding a realtor that's really stubborn is not a bad thing, because stubborn realtors will try to hold your price just as much as they will dig their feet in on something they want. And that's one thing I'm good at. I'll take that. Try to get another $1,000 out of my buyer. It ain't gonna happen. Anyway, you want to make sure that realtor understands the local market well.
Yes.
So, and having conversations with them, you're going to probably be able to establish that to some degree. Let them show you a couple of houses. And see what kind of information they can impart about the area. And again, back to the advocate for you, you really want them to look out for your best interest. Most realtors will do that. They'll look out for your best interest. But again, you do want to work with someone that you like and you respect and you trust. So
you're going to be spending a lot of time with your realtor.
You are, and they're going to get to know you. The realtor's going to get to know you, because you're going to be doing a lot of the talking and telling them what you like, what you don't like, watching the funny faces between you and your husband or you and your wife, as you walk through homes. So it's, find out the little quirky little things that, that you like as a couple together, in a property. Some people don't want to live on a flat property. and they don't want to be surrounded by trees. Some people like to be elevated. Well, it's true.
No, I mean, I know it's true, but I'm thinking, why are you living in Washington if you wouldn't like trees? But that's gonna be.
Well, I love living in Washington, and I love trees. I've planted many on my place. I've planted so many trees. I also had a bunch taken down because they were diseased or what have you, right? So, or they just got too big for the space. So, but I also, for me, I like open sky. I want to be able to see some sky. I want to watch the weather move in. So I need some kind of a view. If it's just some pastures over there, which we call bucolic view, by the way. My first designated broker came out to my house when I first got into real estate. I had a little get together over here. We had lunch. And he says, Kat, you got quite the bucolic view. And I was like, I think that's the first time I heard that word, at least used to my face. I was like, yeah, I do have a bucolic view. Thank you very much.
The first time I saw that, I Googled Mayberry, North Carolina, with the Andy Griffith Show. They described Mayberry as bucolic.
Bucolic, yes. It's a very English word. It's a word they use in England, I think, quite a lot. Not as much over here in the States. So the next thing you want to do, I should do another change. Let's see, how many more little sections do we have? Oh, we have a couple more sections. All right, I can be wearing the same outfit. So step number 4. Step number 4 is fun. It's house hunting. So that, like, you guys, it's fun looking for a house. It really is. Yeah. You visit homes that match your criteria. Maybe, you want to be near a particular area and you're just excited to be near that beach, or, and it's just fun. It's fun relocating and picking out what you want. So, and it's fun to see if houses actually wind up meeting your criteria, and a lot of times it's just really easy to pull up and you're like, walk in the front door and you're like, okay, Kat, let's get out of here. Okay, you got it. Right on, guys. We'll head out. Let's go to the next one, So, anyway, and ask questions. So this is the thing about house hunting. We're not going to have all the questions answered up front. So a lot of times you get into a house and I have more information that I can get to from my cell phone that is attached to the listing. I'm not going to send you guys all that information right up front. Let's go look at the house. Let's see if you like it. And then we'll dive deeper and see if they've got the Form 17 attached, which is the seller's disclosure, or they've got the CC&Rs attached for the neighborhood. Or they've got a website where you can go to and take a look at that information. But we can get a lot more information after we get you out to see the house. If it matches the criteria that you want for a home, we can make sure that the other documents attached to the property don't make you not want to buy it.
So if I may ask, what does CC and R's stand for?
It's, what is it called?
Oh, sorry about that question.
No, you're fine. Community. I think it's called community codes and restrictions. Community. Oh, I know.
Oh yeah. I think
we're live. This is not the time.
Sorry about that.
There's all kinds of ways you can. CC&Rs actually is short for several different types of things related to real estate. One of them are the documents associated with an HOA. The regulating rules for the community.
Sure, the restrictions.
Yes,
basically.
But there's another one that actually refers more to illegal covenants, and you will see that term CC&Rs in the Form 17, the seller disclosure in Washington State, and that's referring to the illegal codes and covenants that were put in place in Washington early in the century, regarding just against different nationalities, religions, etc. And those are now
redlining stuff
and have been removed from most associations. But so CC&Rs actually does stand for several different types of things within the real estate realm. So that's probably so. Okay. But CC&Rs generally are referring to the rules and regulations of that HOA for that community. So that explains that.
That does explain that.
I feel like I don't even want to take a stab at it. Okay.
Moving on.
Okay. Moving on. So, Yeah, so whoops, I mean, I might as well not talk while I'm changing here. Okay, I'm going to grab one more coat. This one's kind of cool, you guys. Oh, it feels good getting into another coat, I'll tell you that. Oh, who thought we'd be into coats, in September? Kind of thought we might make it an Indian summer this year. Whoops, there's my microphones again. Let's get those guys under there.
Oh, it's the opposite of it. Indian summer.
It is the opposite of an Indian summer. It's cold.
Yes.
This is my suede jacket. It's long. It goes over my knees.
So I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Let's say you got somebody coming in from out of the area. They're like relocating or something like that.
Yeah.
And they fall in love with the house, let's say on Cougar Mountain or Tiger Mountain. Do you tell them, hey, let's hang, hey, let's wait until the winter so you can, see how you can drive around in the snow up there in Tiger Mountain or Cougar Mountain? Or do you just not really worry about it and just kind of let them know, hey, it might be a little tricky.
So we often have, my clients and I will almost always have conversations about winter driving now.
Yeah.
10 years ago, it wasn't a thing, to be fair. Now it's a thing. Now, if my client's looking at a house with a steep driveway, whether it's a steep driveway that goes up or a steep driveway that goes down to the garage, either way, we're going to have a conversation about ice.
Yeah.
And snow.
That's what I was wondering about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and what are the roads getting out of your neighborhood? So, because a lot of the side roads do not get plowed in Western Washington. And so, are they fairly level? Will they be traversable by some four-wheel drives? Or are there some steep grades where you might have to leave your car at the bottom of a hill and walk home? That's a thing too.
That is a thing.
A snowmobile. It can, commuting in the winter sometimes in Western Washington can be challenging during the snow periods. We used to not have that many, but I think this last year, I think I was trying to sand my driveway, which I have a steep driveway in a section of it. I was trying to sand my driveway for probably 10 days in a row.
Yeah.
So I had a bag of sand in the back of my car. I was using de-icer just to be able to get out my driveway because my driveway is quite steep. People have taken out the fence at the bottom of my driveway several times, more than a couple of times. I'm always fixing my neighbor's fence. Thankfully, they never hit my car or my garage, which is the fence.
Well, what people from out of the area don't really realize that once you get going on that ice and it's a steep slope, it's like a 4,000-pound toboggan.
It is, yeah. It's really, and you have to steer into your slide, which is terrifying because when you're sliding, you don't want to go the direction that you're sliding for sure. So you're always trying to turn your wheel the opposite way, and that doesn't work. That doesn't stop your slide. You have to get your traction again. And I shouldn't be telling people how to drive on the snow and ice, but that's just what it's what I learned when I lived in Kansas. Okay? Because Kansas is a little worse than Washington. So I've known how to drive on the snow and ice for a long time.
It's a long time.
So, and I do okay on it, but it's still scary, and it's and you do have to warn your buyers that listen,
right.
that does happen here, and so it's a good idea to have an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive vehicle in Washington State. It really is.
Yeah.
Anywhere you live in Washington. If you live on the coast, probably not.
Yeah.
Nah. You live along the coastline, you're fine. But if you
right.
live, more than a mile inland, then you're probably going to need a four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And not only that, if you drive a mile inland just to go to the store, you're going to need a four-wheel drive. So there you go.
There you go.
When I moved here, I wouldn't have. I mean, I had a convertible when I moved here. And that was no problem until it was a problem 5 years after I moved here. All of a sudden, I couldn't get home on Highway 9 one day from work, from my office. And I was actually I was in a line of traffic on Highway 9 going north. In my car, we were sitting still. We were like still on the highway. No movement. My car sliding, the road was banked like this. and I'm driving, and my car started sliding into the other lane, into the oncoming traffic, just sideways, just started sliding, just started moving across the lane. No kidding. That really happened. So a bunch of do-gooders, who I'll be grateful for forever, got out of their cars, seeing me sliding my Mustang across the highway sideways. It was just sliding sideways, the whole side of the car just sideways.
Just
Sliding down the hill because the road was banked, right?
Right.
From left to, from the right was high, and I was going north on the right-hand lane, and it was sloped down because it was turning left, making a left turn. And so my car was just sitting still and sliding sideways directly into the oncoming traffic. Anyway, so a bunch of guys jumped out of their cars and they pushed me back into my lane.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
I am not kidding. You know what I did the next day? I went to the Jeep dealership.
I was going to say bought a Subaru, but no.
The next day. But I'll tell you what, that didn't happen again. Dad gave up that Mustang convertible. As a matter of fact, I finally sold that thing last week. But don't drive a Mustang convertible in Western Washington in the snow. But see, I didn't know it was going to snow that day. But by the time I left the office, it was like 6 inches of snow in Clearview. Listen, there wasn't any snow in Woodinville. So I didn't know I was going to run into snow. Well, I'm coming home through Clearview, and I'm at the top of 1,000 feet off. What is it called? 1,000 feet above sea level.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there's 6 inches of snow on the ground. Oh my God! What are you gonna do? It's 5:30 at night. It's dark.
This might have been the same time frame, but it's almost when was it? Around 2007. We had the 2 winters in a row, 2007, 2008, that were really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's 2006, 2007. Hey, coming back from Lake City Way, you go around the lake. I had to drive all the way out to Woodinville, come back, and then come back across the valley to get into Kingsgate. It was just brutal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and nobody up here knows how to drive in snow. I dare say we're getting a little better at it because we're practicing every year now. but it's not something that is second nature to most Washingtonians. It really isn't.
No.
So you shouldn't be out on the road unless you have a 4-wheel drive when it snows. You really shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's just not a good idea.
That's
right.
Okay.
So 5th step in purchasing a home is making an offer. And you're going to do that with your real estate broker in Western Washington. And they're going to, well, I'll tell you what I do. My clients say, I want to make an offer on this house. We looked at today, let's say it was $850,000. And it just came on the market. It's been on the market 3 days. They don't have an offer review date set. So I said, okay, what do you think? 3 days on the market. It looks like it's priced fairly well. We can pull some comps to make sure. And then are you feeling comfortable with the full price offer? Where do you want to go from here? They say, no, we want to come in 20 low. I'm like, okay, so the danger of coming in 20 low. If another person makes an offer, then there's a chance that we won't get it, but we'll find out that there's another offer though. So, I'm going to give you the tools you need. I'm going to give you the information about where I think the value of the house is right now when you're looking at it. I'm going to give you a list of comps potentially that just sold around that house recently, right? Because recent comps matter, not old ones. And then also maybe what's actively on the market around the area as well to try to ascertain if the house is fairly priced. And once we figure that out, then you figure out if you're comfortable making a full price offer or if you want to come back and offer a little bit less. If it's been on the market less than a week, it's kind of an expectation with sellers that they're going to get full price. Doesn't mean they will have to get full price, but that is sort of an expectation. So maybe if they have not provided you with an inspection, maybe we talk about, do you want to get an inspection? Yes, you do want to get an inspection because you're working with me and you can't buy a house unless you get it inspected if you're going to work with me. So yes, you'll be asking for an inspection. And so I have inspectors that I can refer you to, and we can usually get an inspector within their, out there within 3 to 5 days pretty easily. So we can usually do like a 5-day inspection. You're going to want to review the Form 17 that the seller has provided. We're going to take a look at that, see if there's anything on there that makes you take pause. If there is, then we will want to follow up and ask the seller questions through the listing agent. So I'll just submit a list of questions that a buyer might have to the listing agent and ask and pass along the concerns on the Form 17. So, and anything comes up in title. So we get a preliminary title report we get to take a look at, and any other documents that are attached to the listing and all the details in the listing. Sometimes sellers are leaving the refrigerator and the washer dryer. Other times they opt to take those with them. So those are pieces of information we're going to want to know, because if they are taking the refrigerator and the washer dryer, you're going to have to replace those. That's going to cost you money. So you have to figure that into, what your down payment is, what your closing costs are going to be, and then what it's going to actually cost you to make that home livable when you move in.
Right.
So that you don't kind of come up shorthanded. And just a side note, don't buy the washer, dryer, and refrigerator before closing on the home. Unless you talk to your lender first. Talk to Dan or whoever you got for your lending. Don't just go out and put those on your credit card, guys, because that could mess with your credit score. And if you're like really tight on the credit score, like you're 761, and it dropped by 2 points to 759, that's like a different loan rate, right, Dan?
New bucket.
That's a new bucket. You do not want a new bucket when you're looking for a house. You stay in your bucket. Do not make your credit score go down. Don't do anything to make your credit score go down. Anyway.
Boy, do I have some stories for you.
Oh. The stories about people buying boats before closing or new cars. Oh, boy. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on social media about that. A lot of realtors making fun of that stuff. But hey, it's practical advice. You don't go out and buy a house full of furniture prior to the closing date. You just don't do it. You find everything you want. You get it all lined up. You figure out where you got to go, when you're going to pay for it. You can talk to your lender. If it's okay with your lender that you go ahead and make that purchase and get that scheduled to arrive shortly after you own the home, that's great. But don't do anything until you talk to your lender, because sometimes it is a point or two that will throw you into a different real estate or different interest rate bucket.
Well, let me
want a different bucket.
Let me throw out something that happens even more often than that. You make a purchase. There's a change on your credit report, and your DTI changes. Maybe not a lot, but your debt to income ratio changes. Underwriter now has to rerun the approval, and it's frustrating because you might lose 2 or 3 days before closing.
Yeah.
That's a realistic scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, you still qualify, you still get approved, everything else the same, but they have to rerun the approval.
Yeah.
And that can be very frustrating.
Right.
So, there you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, there you have it, guys. I mean, it's just don't do anything to screw up your credit while you're in the purchasing process. So, so we're going to negotiate. We're going to negotiate your offer. We're going to include contingencies like a inspection contingency, title contingency, all the contingencies that we might need for that particular property. And I, as your real estate broker, will go over your options for contingencies. And we want to make sure that you have a financing contingency in there if you are relying on financing. So we would be going over all the different contingencies that would go in your offer. Then I will draft your offer, go ahead and make a rough draft, and I'll save it as a PDF. I will shoot it over to you. I will have taken liberties. I may have picked your closing date, your earnest money amount, your purchase price, how much you're willing to escalate if we're going to escalate. And then we can go over all those details on the phone or in person or via Zoom and figure out exactly what you want your offer to look like. But it gives you something to look at and read for me to review with you. So we can go over that paragraph by paragraph, and you have time to digest it before we actually officially submit it. So I want to make sure that my buyers are very well versed in what type of offer they're putting together and what their outs are, what their legitimate outs are. So those would be contingencies, giving you outs of the contract. So another step, step six is home inspection and appraisal. So once you have an offer accepted, you have mutual acceptance on your offer, then you can go ahead and schedule your inspection contingency, and your lender, once you get through the inspection contingency, can then order the appraisal. So provided we get through the inspection, with no major items coming up, and we're able to negotiate that inspection to the satisfaction of both the buyer and the seller, now the appraisal can be ordered by your lender. So you shouldn't be paying for the appraisal prior to having your inspection. Because if the inspection doesn't go well, you don't want to have spent money ordering an appraisal.
Yep.
So that's really why we need 30 days in most cases to close in Washington State. It's because we need a few days to get through the inspection, negotiate that, and still have at least 10 days to 2 weeks to get the appraisal done.
Yes. That's
So
the big delay right there.
Yep. Step 7 is finalize your financing. So you're going to want to make sure that you've provided your lender with all necessary documentation, that you're going to be able to get fully through underwriting in a respectable amount of time. So that's when you call Dan. On the phone with Dan. Dan's going to make you crazy. He's going to have you digging up all your documents. Isn't that right, Dan?
Unfortunately, I probably will be.
I know. Well, so the lending portion of it, you guys, if you can knock that lending portion of it out before you get to me, good on you. Because I got to tell you, the lending portion is hard. So, I handle most of the real estate portion for you, myself and escrow. But the lending portion is kind of all on you. So as a buyer, it is a good idea, if you get as much of the paperwork together up front before you even start the home purchasing process, so that lender has all your background, so he knows if there's going to be any red flags, which would mean that you couldn't qualify for some reason, or you needed to do additional work on something. So it's a good idea to get all that stuff out of the way. That way you can really enjoy the home purchasing process, going out and looking at homes, home hunting. It's fun.
And realistically, if I could just throw something in, the stress. If we had a stress index, it starts off very low. Day 1, 2, 3, no big deal, right? But you get to day 26, 27, 28, 29, the stress goes through the roof. So what you're really trying to do is get all this stress out of the way up front.
Handle it up front.
Handle it up front.
Together, right up front. I know it's a lot of work, but it is well worth it, because then when you find the home that you want, you get to enjoy the process of, having the inspection is maybe not fun, but it is fun, because actually you get to know your home. The inspector will show you, where the water shutoff is for the house. They'll show you how to change your filter in your furnace if you need to know, and they'll introduce you to that home. So, I always look at the inspection as quite fun for buyers. It's something they should do, but it's also something most buyers want to do. They want to get to know their home before they move in. Otherwise, you're trying to figure all this stuff out on your own. And an inspector can save you a world of, questions, really.
Yeah.
And then they can be a great resource after the fact, too. You can call them up when your dishwasher starts leaking and when you first move in. And he can maybe, ease your mind and say, hey, listen, wash the seal, close it again, run it a couple cycles, and see if it stops. And oftentimes it will stop. So that's just one thing that you learn from your inspector after the fact.
Yeah.
So step 8, so 1 to 5 days prior to closing, you want to do your final walkthrough with your real estate broker. And you're going to be looking to make sure that the home is in as good a condition as what you saw it in when you toured the home, when you were first doing your tour. You want to make sure it's in the same condition as when you saw it. So you're looking for things like scratched hardwood floors from somebody dragging a refrigerator or some furniture over them. Making sure that, the water, there's no obvious water leaks anywhere. My daughter just had a buyer move into a house, and within 2 weeks, the ceiling collapsed from on the ground floor. The ceiling from the second story collapsed. It was a bathroom. The bathroom had been remodeled, and they did not update the plumbing, and the plumbing was leaking and had been leaking. And
oh my goodness,
the ceiling fell down. And the buyer is just, beside them, this just happened. Or actually, this was actually an agent in my office. It wasn't even my daughter. This was an agent in my own office. And the seller had paid to have all the leaks fixed. Like, that was their agreement with the plumber. And so the sellers left the state, and the seller says, oh no, I don't need to have anything else to do with that, because I paid the plumber and that was the agreement. And so the seller's refusing to fix anything, and the plumber is claiming no responsibility. But as I understand, it's been resolved. But that's the point, though, is that if there's an obvious water leak, you want to make sure that you catch that, because maybe the seller's no longer living in the home. So it really is, it's part of our due diligence as buyers agents to make sure you get back to that home and take a look and make sure things are as they should be. Sometimes sellers have left things behind as well, and you want them to come back and get those, or maybe you can send them along to them after the closing. So a final walkthrough, so that's 3 to 5 days usually before it closes. And then you're going to have a signing appointment, usually the day before or 2 days before closing is when you're going to have your signing appointment. Every once in a while, it's the morning of. That's a little scary. It gets kind of tight time frame wise. Don't do that if we can help it. So, and then day nine is your closing date, or step 9. Step 9 is your closing date. And the loan is going to fund on the closing date. And you're going to get the keys for sure by 9 p.m. on the day of closing. So it's customary in Washington State to give you the keys sooner if it records earlier. So a lot of times I'm able to give my clients the keys by 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which is my preference. So they can actually get into the home the first day they own it and, do their first little tour around, and it's always kind of fun. So, and then step 10, you move in. So this is all good news. Make sure that you've turned over all the utilities and put them in your name. That you know where the mailbox and the mailbox key is, and you always ask your buyer's agent if you are not made aware of those things. But those are things you're going to need to know. And you also want to change the locks. You don't have to change them the first day, but I would get the locks changed within the first few days, just in case there's somebody, a neighbor or somebody has an extra key that they had for secure. Just if the previous sellers were to leave town and somebody needed emergency access. So there's no guarantee that the sellers actually got hold of all the keys to their home before they sold it. So
especially for those down in Pierce County. No,
stop picking on Pierce County, Dan. You're gonna get us. You're gonna get us booted, right? Dan's he's trying to stir up some trouble with Pierce County. And I know, the funny thing is, I know he likes Pierce County. Really, really does.
I do love Pierce County.
So anyway, the last thing is it's your new home. Enjoy it. And one final note. If you're gonna do any updates, for instance, install modern flooring, please do that after you move in, and right after you move in. Don't wait till you're going to sell it. I'd like to see you enjoy that shit.
Yes.
So many people wait until they're moving before they change their countertops, or put in new cabinets. Don't do that. Enjoy that. Those are going to be in style for 10 years. Most things don't go out of style within the first 2 or 3 years you put them in. So go ahead, put those things in, enjoy it. And then you will have done an upgrade to your new home, and you can feel good when you go to sell it if you need to get a bigger home in 5 or 10 years. So,
and I can confirm that even the avocado ovens and burnt orange carpets stayed in fashion for a while. So we've got that going for us.
New construction update: Summit Homes, Montlang Terrace.
Oh,
So the builder did do the thing. So Summit Homes is offering a 10-1 buy down to 4.75%. I believe I saw that in the listing.
oof.
And for 10 years.
For 10 years.
10-year buy down to 4.75%. That's going to make a hella difference on your payment. So that Summit Homes, I want to say it's 47 degrees, 47 north, something like that. But good.
How many units do they have left?
They've got two that would be eligible for that particular rate, I believe.
Wow.
And one of them is eligible for a different rate, but 2 of them are available for the 10-1 buy down, as I understand it. So
That's a great deal.
It is incredible. It's costing the builder a fortune, for sure. But he's doing that to move his last few units in there, so he can get on with his next project. And it's a typical strategy in a market that's proving to be a little more challenging for builders than they prefer, especially this time of year. So the 8% interest rates are playing havoc with new construction, because new construction is listed at the higher end of the spectrum.
Right.
A lot of times, you've got homes in that are 2,200 square feet, maybe being sold for 750 to 850, and then you've got your new construction at
1.2.
900 or 1.2. Yeah. So depending on what it is. So I think that and that's just how it works. So you pay a little bit extra for new construction, but because they're using newer building materials, you also don't have any maintenance for 5 or 10 years, or you should have very little maintenance for the next few years. So anyway, so new construction, very alluring sometimes, especially now with the rooftop decks. They've got some really cool features that some of the new. You're laughing at me, but so you guys, I really love the rooftop decks. I'm not even joking. I think they're so amazing. They're very cool.
They are. They're very cool.
And all these units have the high ceilings and small yards. Dang it! But if you can get away with not having a yard, I think some of those could be really kind of fun. The townhouses.
And I think the rooftop deck kind of more than makes up for the small yard.
Some of the rooftop decks. Some of them are enormous. I mean, it's really can be fantastic. Anyway, I have to run because I have to get my dry cleaning. So
there we go.
It's been fun, you guys. But I got to get my dry cleaning before 6 o'clock, and I got to get on the road and go to Snohomish. And I don't know if you guys know what Highway 9 looks like at 5 o'clock, but it's a little.
It's rough. Yes. Kat, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Dan.
Take care.
We'll see you guys again next Tuesday about the same time, between 3 and 5 o'clock, and appreciate you guys joining us.
Thanks, Kat.
Bye. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.